let's talk about Hecky in the way that there's two ways I want to say it. So first of all, I want to be respectful to him because he seems like a really nice man. I've got nothing
Totally.
personally against Paul Heckingbottom because he seems like a really nice guy. I saw him at an under-21s game and he had no reason to say hello when people were walking past, but he seemed to be saying hello to all fans who were sort of approaching him. And I know some people will say that's bare minimum, it's what you expect, but I genuinely believe that Paul Heckingbottom's a really nice guy and you don't want to see him fail. I also would say that United had a squad that was probably the second best in the Championship last season. We came second in the league. But that is so much easier said than done. How many times have we seen us have the second best squad? Or in League One, we had the best squad on paper every year and managed to come 12th one year. So that is a much harder job than it's given its credit for. So he did exactly what we wanted from him last season, and he deserves the respect that he gets for that. We also shouldn't take out of the equation how many points we got. Like, we got a lot of points last season. And so I want to give all that credit, and I don't want it to just get lost in what I'm going to say next. Because what I'm going to say next is that he doesn't have a plan. He doesn't offer... Tactically, he is completely and utterly out of his depth and is naive for what we need from our team at this level in the Premier League. That is ultimately the position that we are in. And I don't enjoy saying it. I don't want to say it. It's not a nice thing to have to talk about. At the end of the day, it's somebody losing his job. And I don't think that even though it's a well-paid job, I'd still rather not somebody have to do it. But ultimately, he has proven at this stage for me that he's not a Premier League level manager, or at the very least, he has not got the skills to get the most out of this Sheffield United team in the Premier League this season. If we look back to our last season in the Championship, I talked about this at the time. You've probably heard me talk about it on here or on some other show before. I don't understand, even last season, Sheffield United's tactical plan for me was pass the ball to 𝗚minimum Ndiaye and he will create us our chances and our goals. We had defensive organisation and structure that went around that. We saw it towards the end of the season where we would win games 1-0, where what we would do is 𝗚minimum Ndiaye eventually would create his chance, we'd score a goal, and then we would be defensively structured and organised and didn't concede goals. And that got us over the line and was exactly what we needed to do last season. It wasn't inspiring, I don't think, but it was everything we wanted, and he did perfectly the job that we needed to do. This season, we don't have 𝗚minimum Ndiaye, and we don't have anybody at that level who you can rely on to consistently create chances or have moments of magic at the Premier League standard. And therefore, this season, we have been completely found out because we don't have an organised structure of play. But if we just go back to Chris Wilder, I do not think he's the right man to come in and manage Sheffield United now. People have strong opinions one way or the other, completely get it. For me, he's not the answer. But if I can distinctly right now tell you what his tactic was. Every single time Sheffield United wanted to create a chance, you created an overload on either the left or the right. If you were too busy struggling down the left, you would eventually play the ball to the middle for Norwood. You would then try to go again down the right. You would have a wing-back who pushed high to try and create his chance. You had a full-back or a centre-back or a central midfielder who partnered with him so that you could create a quick 1-2 structure and a player could get to the byline, pull it back into the box to create a chance. It sounds simple, it sounds straightforward, but we all saw Sheffield United consistently create chances doing that for 3, 4, 5 seasons under Chris Wilder. Under Paul Heckingbottom, I can't tell you what our repeatable pattern of play is. I don't know how Sheffield United are intending to create a chance. I look at the games that we've seen recently, and I'm going to go back for most of the season. And let's just take the recent ones that I think have been the most decisive in whether or not Paul Heckingbottom is still our manager. I do believe, had we not beat Wolves and Brighton, he probably would have been sacked during the last international break. Now we're in a different position because obviously there isn't a break coming. I still think it's the right decision, but it's not for me to make. But against Wolves, we've scored 2 goals, which I didn't think I'd see us do in a sort of game this year. One of them is the ball's broken. James McAteer has done something brilliant. He's beaten his man and he's running forwards. The defender has intercepted him and he's booted the ball clear. It's hit his knee and bobbled for Cameron Archer to score from 30 yards. That's not a repeatable pattern of play.
It's a pop shot, and it's a very, very good pop shot.
It's a lucky bobble and a pop shot, and that's brilliant. I really enjoyed it at the moment. It's a brilliant goal, but we can't do that every week. You're not good. We won't score that exact goal again all season because you can't repeat that goal. So then you look at, okay, well, we still scored a winner. How did we get the winner? Oh, there was a ball in the box and some lads randomly kicked out, and whether or not he's made loads of contact, Baldock's down for a penalty. Okay, we're not going to do that every week. You're not going to get penalties every week to win games. So what was the repeatable pattern of play? Lump a cross into the box. Well, lump a corner into the box and hope it falls to one of our players. Well, I've seen us take a lot of corners this season. I don't think we've won the first contact on any of them. Maybe one or two. I'm thinking Everton at home, we made first contact, but we've not done that very often. So the set pieces and the corners, that's not going to be a repeatable structure for us for what we've seen. So both of those goals ultimately come down to a little bit of fortune. Then we go to Brighton, and I don't think we had a shot on target in 90 minutes. We played 35 minutes against 10 men, and I don't think we had a shot on target. So there's certainly not a repeatable pattern. We did score a goal, and it was actually a really nice play that scored the goal. We'd pressed forward, we'd won the ball high. We had then had intricate play down the right-hand side, which allowed Bogle to smash it across goal for the defender to turn it in. So that was something. It's the only time we've done that exact move all season that I can think of. But it was something to hang your hat on. So against Bournemouth, I wanted to see us develop that. I thought, well, let's do the same things then. So we've shown that we press high, we can win the ball high, you can then create chances by creating overloads down the wings, or at least by getting somebody to the byline for the ball into the box. It's not perfect, but it's something. We didn't do it once. Not a single time in 95, 98, however many minutes we played. We never did that. And so for me, that is the ultimate sin, is that I can't tell you how we score a goal. It's not that we aren't good enough to score a goal. It's not that we don't have the quality to be able to get up the field. It's that I genuinely couldn't tell you what the plan even is. Like, I don't know what the players are trying to do. We saw on Saturday, we would pass the ball around defence for 2 or 3 passes. We would then pass it back to Wes, who would kick it route 1 to James McAtee. And then James McAtee didn't win the header.
Who else could that go to, though? Because
no one.
James McAtee is probably the tallest out of him, Archer, and Harmer. Harmer's got a bit more behind him, don't get me wrong, but he's kicking the ball up to 3 tiny blokes.
Yeah. So we had 2 weeks. We had an international break before this game. This wasn't a quick turnaround where you've had 2 days, no time on the training pitch. McBurney played on Wednesday, but he's not going to be fit for Saturday, so we'll just keep the same tactics, see what happens. We had 2 weeks to work on a tactic. We've been without Ollie McBurney for 3-4 games. This isn't new. It's not a new change. So why are we still playing an Ollie McBurney style, having had 2 weeks to work on a new tactic, when Ollie McBurney isn't there and we know he's not going to be there? You've got to have another way of playing, and we do not have it. We don't have any discernible tactical style beyond kick it long. And if that's going to be our full plan, then why have we got so many little lads? If you want to play kick it long, that can be classed as a tactical style. Some people have been very successful with it. But you can't do it playing Cameron Archer and James McAtee as your furthest 2 forward players. Play Ollie McBurney and 𝗼𝗂𝗈 if you want to play route 1. Make sure that Anel's playing. Make sure that play Vinny Souza as your number 10 if you want, because he's bigger than everybody else.
Stick Slimani in there.
Stick Slimani in there. Play Andre Brooks. Like, if you want to play route 1 football, absolutely fine. But at least play the biggest lads we've got. Don't play route 1 to midgets, because that ain't going to work. And so that, for me, is the sin. It's not that we're not good enough, because I accept that. It's that we don't seem to have any organisation to make us better. And every other team in this division has that. Every team we play will have a plan. Like I say, we've been better than Burnley so far this season somehow, but they've got a plan. When we play them on Saturday, I can tell you right now what they will do. They're going to press high. They're going to, when they've got the ball, be patient in possession. They're going to pass it around to try and create spaces. They're going to invite the press on to try and make sure they can play around us. They will then use the pace of 𝗂𝗂𝗂 on one wing, and they'll use the sort of tactical skill of Goodmanson on the other wing. They're going to put balls into the box, and they're going to try and create through that structure. So they'll be patient until they get to the edge of the box. They'll then use their height to get it in. That's how they're going to play. It's a repeatable style that they did last season, and they've done consistently using very high, very quick, tricky wingers. So we know what they're going to do. We played Luton. I tell you what they're going to do. They're going to kick it long to Carlton Morris. And Carlton Morris or Elijah Adebayo is going to win the header. And if they don't win the header, then the central midfielder is going to charge forward as fast as he can and put in an absolute stormer of a tackle, and he's going to kick you. And they're going to do that repeatedly. And that's going to work really effectively for them. They're going to win free kicks up high because what's going to happen is Morris is going to get fouled because you can't handle his physicality. They'll then put the free kick into the box. The defenders will be big. They'll be challenging. They'll be trying to score. It's a notable tactical style. It's almost what we're trying to do, only their lads are 6'5" and ours are 5'5". So we know what they're going to do. We know what Deitch does at Everton. You know what Iraola's doing at Bournemouth. We knew what he did when he came from Spain. We now know what he does and he's implemented it, and we've seen it tear us apart. You know, there are teams that have all they're in the same dogfight we're in, only they've got a plan, and we haven't. And that, for me, is why I think we need a change. And I think we need a proper change. I don't want any more 3-5. I think we've got to move away completely. I don't think United's current tactical style will ever work now. I think we need a complete change. If somebody wants to play 3-5-2, that's fine. But they've got to find a way of doing it that's different to what we're doing, that's just same old, being found out 5 years ago.